This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Right. Well, this morning it is, September 15th already. The year is just flying by, almost into fall. So it's definitely a transitioning time, not only with the seasons, but also with what's happening in real estate. And so we're going to spend a little time talking about that today. And nationally, as well as locally. And there's been some real interesting movement. And I know people who are working in the industry are seeing it too. A lot of it is when we start seeing things like this happen, you wonder, okay, what is seasonal and normal for us versus kind of a unique set of circumstances that's resulted in a very different sort of real estate market. I don't know if anyone here reads Inman News or not, but the article that popped up on my computer this morning that I had to read a little bit more about was that across the nation, it looks like more and more people are wanting to work from home. And there's a lot of transitional questions from employers is should they be offering this to their employees, especially since in a lot of states, they no longer are having any sort of restrictions on indoor masking or anything like that. And employers are thinking, well, if I'm going to be keeping my employees, do I need to be offering the option? When we all had the work from home orders, people got that idea in their head and enjoying the opportunity to be able to be at home, work from home, avoid the commuting time. Some places it'd be hours each day, being able, once you're done at 5 o'clock, to be able just to go out there and enjoy being at home and seeing the kids, going shopping, whatever you're doing, and avoiding that commute. So it's one of those things that I think a lot of employers are going to try to have to figure out what's going on, because if we continue on with this work from home, the attitude that people have of that I want to be living in a home that works for my lifestyle now, and also that should aid and continue on creating that increased need that a lot of people have to have a great home that works for them. So with that in mind, I'm going to get going on what's happening here. So this is a chart which shows pending home sales. And we've all seen that there's been a shift in the market. Again, these are all national stats right now. And you can see from January of 2012, where we were when we had the housing crash, of course, COVID, the huge crash right there, but then the huge spike that came up after that. And then we've had some adjustments, but again, we are still, if you look upon the fact, we are having across the country a lessened amount of pending home sales, but it's still super strong in relationship to what it's been historically. So pending home sales are still strong across the country. We are seeing some changes locally. And again, I think some of that's just the seasonal changes that we normally see. Moving on to the next slide. So historically, a healthy level is right there, and you can see where we are with that arrow there. So we're seeing some signs of softening in the housing market, but the context is important. So you see softening, but what does that really mean? We're still very much in a seller's market, but we're starting to see some early signs of softening. So if you look at showing time, this is again the showing services that records when certain lock boxes are opened. You can see the monthly index. What's been happening here? Here's June and July of this year, and you can see that there's been fewer lock boxes opened across the country. If you look back, this is when COVID first hit, March and April. It was a big slowdown. But then look what happened in the summer, and we all know that summer was extremely strong. And though even compared with earlier in this year, we're down, but compared where we are right now in July, compared with last summer, which we know was extremely great, we're kind of normal to what it was in summer last year. So yes, we didn't have that massive push we had in March and April. We're down on that, but we're still relatively strong. So again, think in context of where we are in our market. So in July of 2019, if you go back even further, showing was 123 before, that's their index that they use, before COVID hit. So if you go back in that kind of context, that shows you that we're even stronger than we were in 2019, which was a good year. 2019 was a very good year. So we're down relative to earlier in this year, but still ahead of where we were 2 years ago. So the US housing market continues to be ultra competitive, even as new COVID cases surge, but new data shows the level of competition and ensuing price increases may be cooling off just slightly. So this is a little confusing here. The data shows that 49.6% of homes sold for more than the initial list price in July, which is far ahead of the number reported in July of 2020, when 26.8% of homes were sold above the initial asking price, but below June's total when 50.4% of homes sold for more than initially listed. So this is a little confusing, so let's look at this in a graph. So here is the percentage of homes selling over list price. Again, the rash that we've had for so long. In July of 2020, we had 26.8% of homes sold over list price. June of 2021, 50.4, over half. This is across the nation. In July, it's a little bit down from June, 49.6, so a slight decrease in that. We have seen locally, which trends that started midsummer have continued on into fall, but the data we have here on these national stats is just through July. Here's another thing that's really interesting to look at. And so again, this is looking at the market in context. So if you look at the new monthly listing counts from 2017 to 2021, this is really in a nutshell shows what happened to our market. So the gray, the blue, the light gray, the blue, and the dark gray all show the trends that we normally have in a healthy market, in which a lot of listings hit the market in the spring, early spring, so March, April, May, and then they start trickling down in the summertime and then fall dramatically off as we move to the holidays. This is normal for new listings that come on board. In 2020, when COVID hit, everything was following the normal trend in February and March, and then we had this huge dip down that happened in April. So new listings did not come on the market in April and May. And as we started moving into the summer, we started getting more listings, but we were not at all up to the level that we are normally there in 2017, 2018, and 2019. We never got back to that level that we had back then, which is why we had such a lack of inventory. This is probably tied into the fact that a lot of sellers were like, I don't feel comfortable listing my home with COVID. I was being afraid of having people bring COVID into their home, or also thinking about, well, where am I going to move? Things are all in lockdown. My jobs are weird. I'm out of work right now. I'm I'm working from home. I don't have time to think about moving, so I'm not listing. A lot of things contribute to this lack of inventory that we had in 2020. And again, you can see we never recovered. Even going back into December, we had the normal fall off, but even that level was below the norm. So going into the next level, it's real interesting to see what happened in the next, excuse me a second, I forgot to put my phone on vibrate. There we go. Here's 2021. So new listings hit the market in January and February. The trend is upward, but again, nowhere near the numbers that we normally need to fulfill the needs of just a normal healthy market, much less one which has transitioned so much with people wanting to work from home. So with that in mind, that's why we don't have, we have such a seller's market. We've had such a seller's market because there's just not been enough inventory for the demand. I think this is a real interesting thing. We'll have to see what's going to happen through the rest of the year. If we get back into new listings to our normal trends, that speaks well for us moving forward in a more balanced market. So if these changing inventory dynamics continue, we could see a wave of real estate activity heading into the latter part of the year. And again, if we get more listings, that's a good thing. Our buyers won't be so frustrated. So one of the things people keep talking about is affordability. And we all know locally, we have unheard of listing prices now, things that just a couple of years ago would have been listing for hundreds of thousands of dollars less, have listed at at prices those of us who've been around a long time think is crazy, and yet people are still buying it. So what about affordability? So let's look about this. And these again are national statistics from National Association of Realtors. And so you can see here what the monthly mortgage payment has increased. This is in March, April, May, and June. And the reason why it's increased, of course, is due to rising prices. So when you have to spend more for a house, your mortgage payment is going to be up. So that's what we're seeing across the country. However, affordability is continuing to decrease, and this index, and I'm not sure what they put this all together based upon. It has to do with interest rates, it has to do with prices and all that. The main change here is, again, the amount of money that people are having to spend on buying a new home. Homes cost more, so affordability of homes has been decreasing. But we have to, again, look upon this in context. So let's look at this one. We use this index quite a bit. This is about the Housing Affordability Index. This goes from 1990 to today, and this takes into consideration everything from your average income to how much money you have to put out in housing, all that sort of stuff. And so, yes, in 2010, 2011, 2012, when we were dealing with foreclosures and short sales, houses were extremely affordable. Interest rates were low and houses were cheap, and people could pick up things for next to nothing. And so again, in this index, the higher the figure, the more affordable the homes were. And you can see here 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and here's today. The index, we have definitely homes are less affordable than they were when the distressed properties dominated the market. So relationships to that, absolutely, they're less affordable. But in relationship to what things were prior to the housing crisis, we're still more affordable, believe it or not, according to this index, and again, across the country. You've got to look at everything in context. This is where we are today, and you can see that we are actually far more affordable than we were back in 1990. Hard to think about, but that's what this chart shows. Especially when you consider things like, what are people asking for in rent? If you go here, people who are renting are obviously paying their landlord's mortgage payment. And rent prices have gone through the roof. Between 2019 and 2020, look at that. The prices of rent has just gone up. And so how affordable is it to actually rent as opposed to buy? So when you look at the percentage of income needed for a mortgage payment, it's increasing as home prices continue to climb. So if we go back in this chart to January of 2019, you can see the percentage of income needed for a mortgage payment was 16.2%. It went down, it's gone up, went down, it went down to 13.4, and now it's going up very steeply. It's up to 17.1 now, percentage of income needed for a mortgage payment. But what is that in relationship to everything? So again, let's look at that. The historical norm is 21.2%. So we're still below historical norms. So even though things are more expensive, it takes more effort to get a loan. Homes are more expensive. The historic norm, we're still not there. So the essential guide to creating a home buying budget, according to Freddie Mac, is that most lenders agree that you should spend no more than 28% of your gross monthly income on a mortgage payment, which includes principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. The National Association of Realtors says the 25% mortgage payment to income share takes into consideration that a homeowner has other expenses such as property, insurance, taxes, utilities, and maintenance, so that total housing expenses are no more than 30% of income. Housing costs that are not burdensome, they account for no more than 30% of income. So with that in mind, that 17.1% makes it affordable. Again, historic average 21.2, and NAR's guidance is 25%. So if you look at that, again, take things about affordability in context, and you have to take into consideration that interest rates are still super low. Um, the homes, the bidding wars that are pushing prices above are calming down. And again, national statistics here show that mortgage payment is still affordable. So affordability, take it in context. Homes are less affordable than they were during the housing crisis, but they're not unaffordable. Take that in mind when people talk about the unaffordability of homes here locally. Now, I can say other data I've looked at has shown that the average Bend resident cannot afford to live and buy a home in Bend. The average Bend resident cannot. But there are other areas that they can purchase. 5 reasons today's housing market is anything but normal. And this is really interesting here too. And that's very true. Let's look at that. What does normal mean? It means conforming to a type, standard, or regular pattern characterized by that which is considered usual, typical, or routine. Oh, thank you, Rob. Could you guys make sure, please, that your mics are turned off? Because we're getting a little bit of feedback here. So if you can please make sure your mics are turned off, that'd be really helpful. I want to make sure people can hear everything that we're talking about. Thanks. So what's normal? What's considered normal? Let's look at mortgage rates. Here's the historical mortgage rates by decade. The 1970s with 8.86%, the 1980s with 12.7%. I know my sister bought a home at that point in time. I think her interest rate was 15, 16%. Amazing. In the 1990s, mortgage rate was at 8.12%. In the 2000s, it was 6.29%. In the 2010s, 4.09%. So that's the historic mortgage rates by decade. Here's where we are today, 2.87%. And that's as of September 2nd. So this is where we are. And it's pretty crazy to look at what's happened over time. Mortgage rates are not normal. They're very, very low. Also, is this normal? The home price appreciation. Here's the annual home price appreciation by the calendar year. So this goes back to 1995. And you can see that homes do appreciate normally. Housing crisis, everything dropped. Home appreciation was still going normal. Normal used to be about 3% per year. Of course, here's 2021, which is at 14.10% nationally. That's not normal. But these figures have actually when you average them all in, have pushed the average annual price appreciation to 4.14%. And this is the average appreciation we should be seeing. This is abnormal. Home price appreciation like this is not a normal thing. How about the month's supply of inventory? Another really interesting thing to look at. The month's supply refers to the number of months it would take for the current inventory of homes on the market to sell, given the current sales pace. Historically, 6 months supply is associated with moderate price appreciation, and a lower level of month's supply tends to push prices up even more rapidly. As we know, we've had less than a month's supply of inventory for quite some time, and that has pushed prices up as people have really been very anxious to purchase. We haven't had a 6-month supply of inventory for a very, very long time. It's been years since we've seen something like that. So the months of inventory of homes for sale from 2011 to today, back in the housing crisis, we had 9.5 at one point in time. I know locally in certain price points, we had over 15 months of supply. I looked at that at one point not that long ago. I was like, we had 15 months of supply. It was such a strong buyer's market. I felt bad for our sellers. We were really beaten up by buyers who were demanding so much from them. And now it's total role reversal. Sellers are saying, take it or leave it. Today, statistically speaking, we have 2.6 months of supply across the country. Locally, we'll go over those figures in just a little bit, but you can see it's still a very, very strong seller's market. And now here's another thing that's not normal: days it takes to sell a home. And that's very, very true. Days it takes to sell a home. Here's the average days on market. If you look back in January of 2019, it's 49 days on market to sell. Here's where we've been over the since January of this year: 20 days, 18 days, 17 days. In our local market, it's been like 5-6 days on average. It's been pretty crazy. That's not normal. That's not a normal balanced market. And then the number of offers per listing, that has not been normal. The average number of offers received on the most recent closed sales, you go back here to December of 2017, you can see the average was, a little under 2. Average has been about 2 offers per, and this is normal. You think about it, someone comes in with an offer, it doesn't get together, then seller may accept, then it falls apart, then you get another offer that actually works. We've had it gone up well over 5 offers. Locally, I've heard of people who've received 10, 20 offers on a listing, depending upon what it is. But across the country, average right now, as of July, is 4.5 offers. That's not a normal market. Normal market is roughly 2 offers per listing. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get out of this, and let's go look and see what's happening locally. And start our slideshow. So here's where we are. I'm looking at August of 2021 versus August of 2020. So just looking again, apples to apples, and this is our production. August of 2020, obviously, COVID hit. We had a super strong year. We had a super amazing year as far as our sales, numbers of sales, so much. Listings were exactly the same, 24 listings in 2021, 24 listings in 2020. Volume of our listings, however, instead of 14 million, it was almost 19 million. So the value of our listings has gone up considerably. Our pending sales in 2020, we had 80 pending. In 2021, we had 63. So we're down on that figure. But again, look at the volume, 39 million versus almost 43 million. So fewer sales, but more money, more value to them. Closed sales, we had 59 in 2020. In 2021, we had 42. But again, the volume, we went from 27 million in closed sales to 36 million in closed sales, which gives us a year-to-date figure of, from 2020 of 305 closings at 165 million to 2021 of 337 at 229 million. And again, when I show you where we are charted against other brokerages, this figure will be higher because we've doubled in a number of these things. I'm just looking at straight, what did that house sell for? Whereas in MLS, if you're a buyer's agent, you get credit, and if you're a seller's agent, you get credit. So interesting where we are compared with last year. And last year was an amazing year. Oh, sorry, I went too far. So here's that data I show all the time too. This is the bin residential charts from MLS, which shows some very interesting things here from August. What's been happening in August? And you can see here that the new listings finally dropped below the active listings. So that means there's fewer sales of active listings and less, so the number of active listings are sitting on the market a little bit longer. And that's made an adjustment in this. Here we also see that the sold listings have dropped off a little bit in August. So this is again bin residential. This also includes Sun River. Listing prices still creeping up, but not as high a rate as they were. And here again, the sold medium sales price is dropping. Absorption rate in months. So we were down. This is how long it takes. Basically, if you hit something on the market, how long can you average it for it to actually sell? And again, statistically speaking, that's going up. That means more inventories on the market. We were down to roughly half a month in February, March, and now we're back up to 1.4 months. Sold to list ratio, things selling at 104%, we're back to selling for 101%. So the multiple offers driving prices up, not so much as what we were experiencing earlier in the year. Days on the market, we're still down quite a bit, but it's evening out some. And then price volume. If you look at that, the active listing volume going up, meaning homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer, but listings are not hitting. They're dropping off. So we're not getting a lot of new increase of new listings. And this goes into August. And I look at this as also a normal trend. In the fall, we don't have as many new listings hitting the market. That chart I showed you earlier on the national stats, most listings do hit the market in early spring. March, April, and then we keep on strong through the summer, and then they drop off as we enter to fall and significantly drop off around the holidays. So here's the data that I always do, and this is where I have my map that I've drawn on my charts to show just bin proper. So I'm looking at zip codes 97701, 02, and 03, and I'm comparing August of 2020 with August of 2021 for bin single family residential on less than an acre. So I'm taking out all acreage property here. And again, active listings, we're down 56%. New listings slightly up 5%. New pendings up 40%, but solds dropping off 23%. Sold volumes dropping off. Again, solds have dropped off, so has sold volumes. Average sales price, again, comparing August to August, up roughly 18 on average and 19 on median sales price. So prices are up over a year before, but they're off a little bit over what they were earlier in the summer. And then percentage of list price, again, we're at 102%. Here's the months of supply. We're up over a month now, which is really good. We've been, remember we were down to like 2 weeks supply for a period of time there. We're up over a month. There's more inventory in the market, which is a really good thing for us. As for our, for our buyers, it's good to have more options for people. I'm also starting to see price adjustments, and people who had sellers who were very aggressive on their pricing, and those homes are sitting. If those people need to sell, they're getting more realistic on pricing. A lot of people would like to test the market, and sometimes it's really hard to find comps to support the figures that the seller says they want to sell for. And as good agents, we say, look, this is overpriced for the market. And if it's priced well with this transitional market, we still will see multiple offers that could push the price up. But when you start that listing way over the normal, what it really should be listed for to be norm for the market, you're going to just have it sit. It doesn't make sense. There's other inventory. There's more things now on the market for buyers to look at. So an overpriced listing will sit. So this is something to have something to discuss with your clients. Here is the market penetration report. So this is showing everything that has sold year to date from January through August 31st. And you can see that here we are in number 5 position. Our volume, you can see we're up over the other figure I had, which was 220 million something or other. We're up to 249 million because of double ending certain things. So in number 5 position. So this is pretty amazing to me when you consider that our office is 50 people and the other offices have hundreds of people, and our production is still extremely, extremely good. So I'm impressed with all the efforts that people put into it, and the fact that we have a lot of things happening in our office, which is wonderful. And as the skies cleared up, we're starting to see some walk-ins again, which is really nice. I'd like to open this up for you guys. Tell me what you're seeing. If you have something, please unmute your mic and just kind of share with everybody what you're seeing out there. It's very exciting to see things. I know that we've got some new listings. We have some sales happening with buyers who are very frustrated, having lost out on multiple offers for months, almost ready to quit. And now all of a sudden they're now getting into contract. Very encouraging to hear that too. Does anyone have something to share? If you do, just feel free to unmute your mic and go ahead and talk.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, hi Cinda.
Okay, I'm just finding that with the buyers that I had, which was in the lower end, 400 to 500, or actually to get them in at asking price or maybe even a hair under asking price was huge. It was like, wow, this was a huge difference compared to a month ago.
Absolutely, it's real encouraging. I know that one set of buyers you've been working with. I'm excited for them to get into contract. First-time home buyers. Find something. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be able to write an offer at asking price and say, okay, yeah, I'll try this. Let's do it and get it is huge right now, because before you're looking at 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 over asking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard to guide them.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
That's great. Thanks, Cinda. Someone else have something? Katie, do you want to tell us about your new listing? I know that Katie hasn't. Oh, thank you, Katie.
Hi there. Sorry,
Hi.
I'm just multitasking. Just doing the dishes while I'm listening. Let me put the silverware down.
Work from home is a good thing, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So yes, I have a new listing that will be coming live this Friday, probably in the morning. It's in Shadowwood, about 2,326 square feet, single level lot, really mature, old growth landscaping. It's going to be listed around 689. And yeah, we're really excited to be listing it. And also doing an open house on Saturday if anyone has clients that are wanting to come check it out.
Wonderful. That's exciting,
yes.
Katie.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited.
Anything else for haves and wants, people? Anyone else have something to share about what's going on with the market?
Yeah, I'll share with some of my recent buyers. We are certainly seeing space right now to negotiate repairs, and both in Bend and in Redmond, I'm seeing that with the past few offers that have been accepted. So that's really encouraging for both first-time home buyers and my clients who are just wanting to buy into Bend. Yeah, so I'm certainly not seeing, well, it depends. In Northwest Bend, it's still pretty competitive, though I feel like on the outskirts, more in like Southeast, I've seen there's been room for actual negotiations and space to offer below asking, especially for the homes that have been sitting on the market longer. That's a really great opportunity to get in under asking or right at list price.
Yes, getting back to a more normal real estate market means we may have counteroffers. I'm seeing listings selling with counteroffers, or I'm seeing buyer's representation in which the seller may be countering the offer, which is great. We're back into negotiations, and we're also seeing buyers not waiving home inspections, which always scared me so much, because you never know what you're going to find out in a home inspection. Also seeing sellers being willing to work with a buyer on home repairs that need to be made. So it's good. I don't see people waiving appraisals the way they were earlier. They don't need to do that anymore, because we are having, yes, we still have some cash buyers, but we're also having people buy with loans. And when there's only one offer on a property, that's what you're starting to see. So if you have clients out there who have, if you're representing sellers and the listings have been there for a while, you may want to spend some time talking with them about the changes we're seeing in the market, and maybe talk a little bit about price adjustments that should be made to accommodate a changing and fluctuating market. Anybody else have anything that they want to talk about? I know next week is the OAR convention. I'm sure everyone has received information about that from the OAR emails that are sent out. The convention is actually being held in Sun River, and it's hybrid, so it'll be both. If you wish to attend all online, you can do it that way, or if you want to attend in person, you can do that, or a combination thereof. I will be attending as much as possible in person, but there's some things I will only be able to do through online. So just be aware that that is happening, and if you're interested in participating at all, I'm sure that they are still taking registrations on it. There's a lot of CE credit available through some of the things that are offered, and I know Bill's going to be coming, and so I haven't talked with Bill about it, but always after the convention we do spend some time sharing some of the stuff we heard at the next office meeting. So hopefully between Bill and me and anyone else who would like to attend, we can talk about it to the group. Should be an interesting convention. I know I was on a Zoom call yesterday with on a state committee I serve on, in which they were talking about practicing for the hybrid, and that's the OER staff trying to figure it all out, making sure they can do it correctly. Anyone else have anything to share? Okay, if not, then that's really all I have for today. I'm hoping everyone has a great day, and if you have questions or needs for anything, just feel free to reach out. Emily and Brittany and I are here today and happy to help you with anything that you have needs. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.